Hey, my beautiful people. I have a question for you. What selling techniques historically have worked for you? What selling techniques historically have worked for you? I want you to go back into your memory and think about some of the things that you have signed up for or looked around to sign up for. And what is it about what you read, what you saw, what you heard that made you eager to sign up for it, that made you not think about it, that made you say, this is what I want, this is what I'm going for? So when I think about the selling that's worked for me historically, it's always been bare bones. Think about it in terms of a university course, right? Where it tells you the title, the description, the prerequisites, and then there's the cart, buy now or register now, as an example. And I think for me, the reason why that worked is because I just needed the information to make my decision. So when I think about, say, coaches or mentors that I've signed up for, there's something that they said that made me interested in learning more, or yeah, pretty much. And that's what I went for. And in each one of these instances, I never really went through their marketing copy. So on their website, on the landing pages, I pretty much would scroll all the way to the bottom and press pay. And that's sort of how I am. Another example is I recently, just over the weekend, completed my certification in hypnotherapy. And again, when I was enrolling for this certification, uh, my amazing instructor was trying to tell me all the wonderful benefits of hypnotherapy and what I could do with it. And I'm just like, just sign me up. I know what I'm going to do with it. Sign me up, sign me up. Because once I make up my mind, then that's what I go ahead and do is sign up. Why am I asking you to reflect on this? Because I want you to think about your buying experience, the way that you like to be sold to, and then think about um, how you sell to others. Okay, and whether you can see any similarities around there or not. If you're honest, if you are honest, for many of you, the way that you sell is the way you've been taught to sell. So maybe it's the way you grew up in the industry, or you know where you got in the market that you're in. This is what the industry leaders are telling you. um, it could be that the way you sell is what you've seen in podcasts, books, magazines, social media, where they tell you what to do and how to do it. And if you're honest, um, some of the ways in which you sell your products and services, if you were to receive that exact same experience, you probably would say no thanks. You probably would say no thanks. This is not for me, right? So, this is something that happens with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if you are responsible for your own sales of your products and services. You find that there is a misalignment when it comes to sales. Your intention, your energy, all of that is seen so clearly when you speak about what you do, how it impacts lives, why you do it, and what it does for you. Now, when it comes for the for asking for the sale, when it comes to, saying this is the value, this is what the investment is, what you may find is that there is a bit of a disconnect with how you speak about your products and services, how you speak about your expertise, and then how you sell. There's like this clear cut disconnect. And the truth is, for a lot of people, they did not grow up with positive experiences around sales. I am one of them. They did not grow up with positive experiences around sales. what they saw of sales was everything that they just don't want or want to be associated with. Like when they think about selling, when they think about going out and marketing themselves, it just feels so slimy that they either don't do it or they close their eyes, grit their teeth, and power through. And yet, selling is energy. Selling is energy. And when someone looks at you and sees you selling and you're not in it, they pick up on it. They pick up on it because your subconscious, your body is going to tell them, there's going to be an inflection. There's going to be something that will tell them this person is not buying what they're selling. And here's the sad thing, it can appear as though you don't care. So when you're selling something, your product, your service, and there's that part of you that's like, this is just slimy. I don't like this. I want nothing to do with this. That's the energy that comes off. And why it's unfortunate is that on the receiving end, it looks like you don't care about what you're doing, so why should I? It also feels like that slimy experience that you're trying to get away from as a seller, well, that's the slimy experience that people are trying to get away from as a buyer. So, you're definitely going to have a lot of repelling taking place. So instead of your marketing being magnetic, instead of it drawing potential clients to you, evangelists, people who can help you, instead, it just pushes them away. And what that can come across to you is just a wall or just a space of silence in which you're thinking to yourself, or this is where you'll come to me and say, I'm putting myself out there, I'm making the calls, I'm sending the emails, I'm doing the Facebook, the Instagram lives, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Clubhouse, I'm doing all these things, and nobody wants to buy from me. That's what that can feel like. It is such a painful state to be in. And so I thought it's very, very important to come out and talk about it, because there are things that you can do to help you, because there's some things that we have to understand. The first thing is selling and marketing is like food and water. Okay? It's food and water. If you don't market and you don't sell, then you are not sharing what your products and services are, and you are not inviting someone to experience them. So in essence, when you don't market and when you don't sell, there are two things here that you are not doing. You're not sharing and you're not inviting. Now, think about, let's move away from business for a while and go to like parties. And the easiest thing that I can come up with is when you're inviting people to your home for a party. Often you will find that it is so effortless, isn't it? Like you just pick up your phone, send out a text, or call one person who will spread the message to like 10 people. Before you know it, you have all these people in your home. So easy, isn't it? That you're not even thinking about the mechanics of what you are doing. However, in that instance, you shared and you invited. You shared and you invited. You shared that you're having a party, what it is about, who it is for, and then you invited the people that you thought would enjoy the party and make it a great party. Now I know you're probably saying, yeah, Julia, that's a party. Who's not showing up for a party? And I get it. It sounds like, coming to a party is not the same as buying products and services. One of them is easier in our mind to sell than not. Well, honestly, it's a matter of perspective. So this is how I see it. When I think about anything that I've signed up for, anything that I've bought, like the example that I gave you where I just completed my certification in hypnotherapy, he didn't have to sell to me. I knew what I was going for. Now, I didn't understand the complete benefit that I would be receiving from this amazing certification program. However, I already knew what I wanted and how it was going to benefit me. And so paying for that service and product was effortless. And of course, it helped that the instructor shared and invited. So this is what I want you to consider, right? I want you to consider that sharing and inviting is a muscle. Okay, it's not, there's some people who are born with it. There's some people who just naturally walk into the world and they can sell anything effortlessly. And that there are others who have to develop it as a skill set. So, one of the things is to look at where you are on the spectrum and ask yourself really hard questions. How am I with selling? Where could I use some more help when it comes to selling? How is my marketing coming across? Where could I use some help with my marketing? And then just write down what your thoughts are. I'm a really huge believer in writing down things. Our minds are so beautiful and powerful that often all they need is just a chance and a space at the table so that they can let you know what they have in mind. Truly. And one of the best ways to do this is to ask yourself hard questions and then write them down. If you are visual like me, when I write down, I literally see it. I see the answers or whatever it is that I've come up with just embed itself in my body. So however you need to work this out, go ahead and do so. Okay, then what? Go out and find this person who sells or markets who can show you the way? No. No. The next step is to think about 5 different instances in which you successfully sold something or successfully marketed something. Now, it doesn't have to do with your business. It's great if it does. However, I'm assuming that you've seen so many failures lately that this question is just leaving you in a state of, despair. So let's move on to other aspects of your life. The places where people tell you you are great, the things in which they tell you you seem to do things so effortlessly. I want you to think about a time when you had to sell someone on an idea. So, one example is this. One of my clients was having trouble getting when it came to co-parenting and was feeling very disempowered around that. Until I reminded her of the different ways she has sold ideas regarding the child, and those ideas have been bought. Very simple example, and this one is used in sales all the time, is when you say something like, what would you like for dinner, chicken nuggets or vegetables? That is a form of selling, right? You're selling 2 options. We do this every day without even really thinking about it. When you turn to your loved ones or your children, whomever, and you ask questions like, what do you want to do today? We can go for a walk or we can watch something. Well, that is selling. When you say, this is what I'm making for dinner, you are selling. When you say, I prefer if we do laundry on Saturday mornings, you are selling. You are constantly selling. Now, the difference between selling in real life and in your business is that one of them seems to be in flow. It seems to be aligned. It seems to just flow out of you. And the other one, it's a little bit removed, and that's where you get those slimy feelings. That's where the bad experiences come to mind. And that's where you force yourself to go sell because your mentor, your coach said you have to go out and sell, and so here you are ticking off the box that says, I sold. When in reality, what you did was a great disservice to you and to others. When you don't share and when you don't invite, what in fact you are doing is denying someone an opportunity to, number 1, receive all the information that they need to make an informed decision. And number 2, you are denying the opportunity for someone to get better. Because remember, your products and services are for the betterment of others. At the heart of it, remember that. The money part can make it so confused sometimes. It can just really muddy the waters where you're looking at the money part and that's all you're thinking. And an example of this is when you look at the money and you say not enough money is coming in, that must mean my products and services are not good, or that must mean I am not good, or that must mean, and then that just becomes the crux of that becomes the focus. Whereas if you intentionally shift your focus to what it is that you are selling, and you realize at the end of the day that Anyone who comes in touch with your products and services will leave better. Anyone who comes in touch with your products and services will enjoy a higher quality of life. Anyone who comes in touch with your products and services will get something that they need that will enable them to continue on with their journey. Then you start to focus on the right thing. And if that's what you're thinking about, if you're thinking about how their life will get better, how they will improve, how beautiful things will happen for them, how amazing it'll be when they experience your products and services, as you can see, things change. Now, when I was speaking, did you notice that as I was speaking about how the products and services can really improve people's lives, make it better, I even started to smile. My face started to relax. And that's because of the space in which I am thinking about these things. So, one of the first things is take the difficulty out of service. Difficulty comes in when you put in things like, oh, how will I appear? Are they going to love me? Nobody's answering. Nobody wants this. Can they afford it? Who do I reach out to? I don't know anybody. Those are layers of difficulty that you are willingly taking on. Those are layers of difficulty you are willingly taking on. In addition to that, you're going to then go out and market and sell. And then you wonder why the spirit with which you're sharing and inviting is not being received, because we have all these blocks, all these things that you decided to bring along for the ride. So what we do here is we intentionally decide what we're going to focus on. Folks, it really, really is that. At any given time, you can decide. So I'll give you an example. Every time, not every time, I erase that. Often, when I'm about to do a live or post something on social media, even when I have my own events or I'm about to go on a stage, there's this window in which I just get this flood of emotion that I was able to manage before then. And that flood of emotion is the kind that says, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I'm an introvert. Why can't I just stay at home and things just kind of like fall on my lap? I mean, why do we have to do this, right? Now, what I do at those times is that I have trained myself to look beyond that. Because anytime any one of those feelings come about, then what this is an indication of is that you have just really made yourself very small so that you can consider yourself. When you consider others, you expand. That's just the law. When you consider others, you will always expand. When you're thinking about what other people need, how you can be of service to other people, you have no time to be afraid. You see that? But when you think about yourself, when you think about what you have to do and where you have to go, you become small, because your mind is amazing at revealing to you all the ways you have failed, all the ways that you will not succeed, all the things that you will get wrong. And the mind is wonderful. It'll bring up several, powerful examples to really keep you stuck. Now, how you get out of that is you think big. And if you want to think big, think about other people. Think about someone else and not what their opinions are, because again, you're shrinking yourself. Think about their needs and how you can help them. Many, many years ago, I was going through like a dark night of the soul, and I turned to my church then, and they had these prayer requests that you could send in, and I really poured out my sob story, just crying as I typed it out, and I was really looking forward to like this long response that was just going to really comfort me and just make me feel good. Instead, I get this thing that I get this response that was not even a paragraph, and it was like, go out, be of service to other people. Okay, so one of the things you said is you can't get a job, go volunteer. One of the things you say is that you can't find clients, Well, go find people that you can work with and get your testimonial so that you can get paid clients. Basically, go out and be of service to people. And then the second one, obviously, was praise and rejoice always. I was so disgusted with that response. I was immature in my thinking then. What I wanted was to be told, I understand, yes, don't worry. Instead, I got that kick in the butt that said, go out, get busy, think about other people. Number two, mind your attitude. It took me a long time to take those truths and reflect upon them and put them in my life. And I'll tell you, it's such a game changer. So, a couple of things right now. If you find that you are having problems with selling, you are experiencing problems with marketing, number one, look at it very objectively and ask yourself, is this a skill set that I already have and just need to exercise so that I grow stronger in that muscle? Or is selling and marketing something that I just have no idea about? And it has nothing to do with anything other than you grew up around the wrong experiences, or it's just something that you never experienced before. Especially if you're coming from a world of, say, a 9 to 5, where you're used to having the corporation's clients come to the business. So the going out and selling and marketing is just something that you never had to do. So number one is you look at the problem and look at it objectively. So you find that you're not marketing, you're not selling. You ask yourself, is this a skill set that I need to increase my practice of, strengthen the muscle? Or is this a skill set that I just don't possess at all in this respect? If so, let's assume that this is a skill set in which you've had negative experiences, you don't quite know how to do it, you know what to do, but you have that resistance. Now, your next thought is probably go out and look for the person who can help you. And this is where I'm telling you, pause. No. Instead, think about at least 5 other areas in your life in which you have successfully sold. So, successfully sold an opinion. An example would be the time when you really had to convince your family to eat the most delicious meal that was all vegetables, that had no salt, no fat, nothing. And it was going to be a hard sell. And yet you did it. They ate it and they loved it. As an example, think about 5 examples of situations in which you shared and you invited and it worked out for you. And then as you reflect on these different experiences, let your mind bring to your awareness the strengths or the skills that were involved in these different situations. How did you present the offer? What words did you use to make people come around? How was your tone? What was your attitude? What was your stance? Think about who you were in that space when you were convincing someone to come along with you for the ride, or, take on something that, they weren't sure about, but they said yes to you. And start taking note of those strengths. Understand that you already have a way that you can market and sell naturally that is aligned to you. So there's a time when I used to, I've done a lot of sales in my life. Like we're talking door-to-door sales, just picking up the phone and flipping through the yellow pages sales. I'm really dating myself. Cold calling, warm, emails, social media marketing, like name it. And all the programs and the experiences that I've had in sales, what I took out of it was this. Number one, if I don't buy what I'm selling, then that comes across. Now what if you're in a situation where you have to sell your products and services and you're not buying yourself as the seller, which often happens. It often happens that you have these amazing products and services, you just struggle with revealing the benefits, with sharing and inviting, letting people come into your world so that they can experience the same thing. And because you know this, then it makes it really hard to go out and talk about your products and services because you already imagine that you're going to be judged, ignored, rejected, and then you receive that experience and you're like, see, this is why I don't do it. So one of the ways we can reframe this is to take some time out, because you're going to have to market and sell, okay? You want the money to come in? You got to put yourself out there. You got to share and invite. Sharing is marketing, inviting is sales. Sharing is marketing, inviting is sales. You've got to share your goodies. You got to share and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And then you've got to invite, ask for the sale. So understanding that that is food and water for your business, and that you want this healthy body, then you're going to have to feed it. So, where I want you to like really think about a reframe when it comes to sharing and inviting, and you're not sold on your own skills, is number one, to think about at least 5 different examples in which you successfully sold an idea, a product or service, or yourself to anyone. Don't be hard pressed about this. Just remember when you submitted a resume and you were accepted, you sold yourself. Remember when you had a dinner plan that you had to convince the children to buy into, that was a sale. Getting people to come out with you to a birthday party or to a party, that is a sale. So, there are many different situations that you can think of that will allow you to point to figure out where you have successfully sold. And then number 2, think about the strengths. Think about the things that really enable that to happen for you. How are you speaking? How are you standing? What words were you using? What was your intention? What did you decide before you shared? And then how did you receive, right? When you invited. And when you think about those things, then take those skills, those little minute broken down skills, and then look at your business and ask yourself, how can I apply this in my business? How can I apply this in my business? I was speaking with someone the other day and she was just terrified of going on social media. Like for her, just the thought of going and doing the lives was just like, oh man. Yet she knew that for her, this was the only way to grow her followers, her people. And so she really wanted to go ahead and do this. One of the things that we talked about was what came naturally to her, because when she was thinking about going out to this new venture, there was almost an assumption that she had to know what she was doing. And social media is not helpful in this case, where when you go on social media, it's almost expected that you're perfect from the jump. And yet, when you look at anybody whom you follow or anyone that you think is a success story, if you have the patience to trail them back to the beginning, you will see that there was a progression line, that they didn't just suddenly become powerful or beautiful or, So like we have some powerful speakers that people like to compare themselves against, or really great marketers, people who are just on top. Now, when you look at that person's life, you will see that they were able to bring in other skills that strengthened them. Like they were public figures in another lifetime. They did sales. So as an example, me, I've sold. I have a background in sales. So sometimes when people will say like, oh yeah, but you're so confident on the camera and all of that, it's true that I shirk from these types of things because of that part of me that's introverted. However, the part that's extroverted or has exercised its muscle in marketing and selling, that's what comes in and kicks in. The other thing is, and this is something that I have experienced personally through working with lots of different people, mentors, coaches, tons of programs, and then discovering my personal experience, which sort of like just trumped all this, was that there's a way that you sell that comes natural to you. And again, if you doubt this, think about opinions or values that you have successfully sold to others. There's a way that you market and sell that comes natural to you. Now, what you may have to do is learn the platform. So you may have to learn how to speak on stage, or you may have to learn the intricacies of doing a live. You may have to learn some technology. You may have to learn marketing copy for a landing page, but there is a way that you naturally market and sell, and you have to give yourself that opportunity. And the fastest way to do that is to look at what you're selling, understand the intention and how it will benefit the receiver, and focus on that. Focus on how the receiver will benefit. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to sell you right now a free workshop that I'm doing, okay? So for a lot of entrepreneur women, when it comes to really getting clear on what they want to do, they are clouded by their experiences and their circumstances. So that when I speak with a lot of people, they say that this is what I want, this is the kind of business that I want, this is the kind of family that I want. And then when we get into it a little bit later on, you find out that that's not quite what they wanted. There's a lady who wanted to have a lot of income, a really busy practice, just really full practice. Okay, no problem. We start working on those strategies. Of course, the misalignment starts to come up along the way, and we discover that what she actually wanted was a business that gave her the freedom to spend time with her family. You see how different those two are? So what she thought she wanted was a busy practice with money and clients coming in. When she was imagining this, she was thinking that would allow her to maybe hire out a team or spend more time with her family. And then she got what she wanted and discovered, oh man, she was still not spending time with her family, and that really had been her objective. So what her desire was, truly, when we got down to it, was that she just wanted as much time as possible with her family. She enjoyed them, she wanted to do things with them, and she did not want to worry about where the money was coming from, how the business was going to flow. That's different. So what we did is we designed her life around her priorities. Money is important, yes. A busy full practice is wonderful, yes. However, all of that means nothing if one of your psychological needs are not being met. And in this case, her psychological need was that family, the security and the stability that comes from that. That was what she wanted. And so we set about creating a plan that enabled her to spend as much time as she wanted with her family and still be able to build up a practice that could be full and brought in a lot of income. How did we do that? Through a process I call creative vision work. Now, this is where you look at the plans, goals, ideals, and just get really creative about how you can make it come about. And we do this using what the subconscious already knows and wants and is ready to execute. Because you already know what you want and how to get there. You do. You really do. There may be times when it feels like you have no clue what's going on or where you're going. I'd like to suggest to you that really when you're in the storm, all you see is a storm. But that does not mean that you're not on the path. You can be in a storm on your path. The two of them are not mutually exclusive. And it's usually when the storm lifts and the clouds and the fog and all of that you see you are still on the path. Okay? So I'll say this again. When you feel like you're lost, you're confused, nothing is working out, you don't know what's happening, and yet you made, very clear aligned steps to get to where you are. Well, this is a situation of managing your emotions, not freaking out, learning how to ride the storm, because it will lift and you will see that you're on the path. Where a lot of people falter is that they see the storm and they start to panic. They start to think, this is a sign. You see, this is why I told you this never works out. We should be looking at something else. And then they turn 1 degree to the left or the right. And when the storm lifts, they are lost because they moved away from the path. So you want to stay in the path and understand that anytime you feel lost, anytime you feel confused, anytime you feel like you can't do something, that is for you to just recognize that there is a storm. And then ask yourself, I'm going to get out. At the end of it, I'm going to get out. So what does my aligned action looks like? What does my aligned action look like? How can I help more people know what I'm doing and how great it is and exactly who it is for, what I'm looking for? How can I stay true to my intentions and still work out within this storm? Right now, I show very specific tools and techniques on how to keep yourself within a storm, also how to ride the storm, and I also make very quick shifts on your mindset so that you're able to go from a state of dependency and despondence and feeling quite useless in life to a place where your situation will not necessarily immediately change, but how you look at the situation will. And that impacts your actions, and that definitely changes your consequences, which is amazing. Honestly, it's how I've been able to help clients go from 0 to 5-figure months in a couple of months. It's how I've helped clients release weight. It's how I've helped clients find love. It's how I've helped clients start or grow their businesses. And it happens very, very quickly. And it's because I know exactly what questions to ask and what to do with the mind so that I can bring it to your future and merge the two of them together. Guess what? I have a free workshop that's taking place on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday. Okay, that English was so not right. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I have a 2-hour free workshop, and that's the introduction to creative vision work. And this is where we get really, really clear on what you want. Can't say it any more simpler than that. Really, really clear on what you want. And even if you imagine you know what you want, even if you're on the right path, this is one of those workshops that's really useful to make sure that you are still on your path, that you gain additional tools to help you move forward, and we actually go into the action steps. And by the time we're done working together, you will take one massive action step that's really going to push you into the future and set you way ahead of your peers because of the journey that I'm going to take you out on, right? So I will put the comment on the first comment. I'm going to put the link for Wednesday's workshop. If that date doesn't agree with you, look at the other dates and sign up. Please, no excuses. And invite your other women entrepreneur friends for this adventure. One of the things that I discovered a little while ago was that anytime I went through something and I kept it to myself, I was denying someone else the opportunity to grow and learn. And how this has come back to me is that whenever I've shared my resources, or say if I'm going for an event, or whenever my coaches have asked me to invite others and I have, it's always been a blessing to me, because the people that I've invited have been able to also grow and up level, and that has created opportunities for us to work together. Do you see that? Whereas if I'm the only one who's growing and up leveling and all my friends are just left there, then how does that serve us all? How does that help us all? How? So, one of the best ways to really show the women in your life that you care for them and their growth is to share and invite. Share and invite. So do take this opportunity to share and invite the wonderful women creatives or entrepreneurs in your life who could gain massive value from figuring out who they are, what they want, their next moves to an incredible life. One of the things that I promise is life-changing information. I have this way of getting into your mind and just saying the right things at the right time. It is a beautiful gift that I've been given that I love to share, and I love to see what it brings out for others. And you can see that is true because you're reading my body language as I say this. Why does this mean so much to me? Honestly, my God, if someone was in my life and did for me what I've been able to do for others, I would have saved myself at least 30 years of chronic pain. And I'm not talking about physical pain, although that's also how it manifested, but I'm talking about that pain of dreams unrealized. I'm talking about the pain of trying things that are not working, of putting yourself out there and not getting anything back in return, of wanting something bigger, wanting more, and yet the lived reality is the complete opposite, right? If I had someone there from the jump who said, Julia, let's change your view, okay? Let's first of all, let's take care of your vision. Because that's where it all begins. Let's take care of your vision. Let's change what you see. Let's change how you think. Let's change how you feel. And then voila, run. I would have paid anything for that. So what really drives me is I want more women successful. And the thing about the women that I work with, these women entrepreneurs, is that they are titans in their own right. However, they have this one or two or three stumbling blocks that make them feel less than, that hold them down, that create stories that are then looped, that pretty much say, you can't achieve this, you can't do this, you should give up. Honestly, once those few obstacles are taken out, I always see these women just rise to the top. And I get the front row view. I get the front seat. I get to be there, VIP section. It's so awesome. I mean, what other job gives you that? Honestly, what other job on earth gives you the pleasure of helping people and then basking in the glory of their good works? I love working with creatives because I am a creative. I love working with entrepreneurs because I am an entrepreneur. I love working with women because I am a woman and I understand these three different aspects so well. That there's a way that I speak to you, there's a way that you communicate with me that makes us in sync, and it's out of that container that we create such good works. So I will put the link on the comment so that you can sign up, share, and invite others to join us for the free workshops, okay? That is a must. Yes. So, just to go back to what we were saying, marketing and sales is like food and water for your business. You have to do it. Well, there must be an easier way to do it. Absolutely. So one of the ways you can do it is think about the successes in other areas of your life. Pick up the strengths. Pick out the dominant strengths that allowed you to sell in other situations, to share and invite, and then apply them to your business. Now, where does the help come in? Because remember I said that you gotta wait before you go for the coach or the help or the mentor. Well, the reason I said that is because you have to also, before you go looking for that help, you have to also understand some things about yourself so that you can get the right help, right? So it's not, oh, I need to use Instagram. Go out and take a course on Instagram. Now, you gotta fiddle with it yourself a little bit. You've got to figure out for yourself, what is my style? How do I like to show up? What do I like to say? When do I like to say it? And then where you find that you could use extra help, go out and get it. That way, you know exactly what you're getting the help for and exactly how you can use it. So one of the key ways to figure this stuff out is to show up for my free workshop right there. And it's free and you get the value that you need from it. The idea is that you leave having a very clear path, having a direction. And I get this out of you using several different modalities that I bring into the mix. And now I'm really excited because I can add hypnotherapy to that. And out of the modalities, my introspective questioning, intuitive life coaching, the idea here is that you're just running out the gate. I really want that for you, and I really told you why. All right. So in the comments, tell me what struck out to you. Tell me what day you're signing up for. I want to hear from you, and I can't wait to see you. Take care.